Water can flow or it can crash.
Water can
It's a big ass bird.
And I was just playing, man. You feel me?
I'm the one, I got the glow like I'm Bruce Lee. Pointing kung fu at a nigga, he running on his ankles. That nigga got his shoes cut off, Chop got loose sneaks. That mean a nigga tried to get away and he left his feet. I'm sick a nigga tried to get away and he lost his think. I mean they fed something to his thoughts and he lost his mind.
Shit.
I'm sick about some shit I just realized. Earlier I said Bruce Lee, but I meant Bruce Leroy, bitch. I keep to myself so you thought I was coy, but it's a little like that typo in the fortune cookie. It ain't my fault you read it hella fast cause the cookie smack. Your lucky numbers was all 8s and 3s, but you ain't peeped the bad. In other words, you need to realize everything ain't what it seems. So read between the lines, see details and peep the seams. In other words, you're never too cool to be cautious. You can stay dangerous, but to utilize your time, you gotta stay watching. In other words, if you fluid, you can flow or crash. But anyways, if you make a mess, nigga, wash your ass. If a nigga make a mess, he better wash his ass. You know, if a nigga did wrong, gotta clean his past. In other words, if you fucked up, gotta fix what's behind yourself. And I ain't FWC, but if you cross me, I'm back there with a belt. If I caught a nigga slipping, you don't know how he felt, cause he can't show you that hand, his car's already dealt. In other words, he ain't got no more palms to read. In other words, his future ain't in the ball, his presence ceased. That mean he lost his shadow. I wonder if that nigga Pan shadow was an astral projection. Damn, am I getting spiritual or was that science? I guess it's spiritual work if I cut a nigga from his soul with some scissors. Said my shears ain't got 2-finger hoes, they got one with a leather words. I got 1-finger trimmers. I got 1-finger trimmers with projectile blades and a trigger. That's some sharp ass shit to cut a nigga up. I'm so fired, why you playing with me to get burnt up? In other words, I'm dangerous on low, so don't turn me up. Just keep waiting, but you ain't gotta turn, so I'm like, for what? In other words, you can peep everything ain't what it seems. Look at the little things and keep swivel on the scene. In other words, you're never too cool to play it smooth. Stay dangerous, but don't be dangling. Utilize the clock, it might sound difficult, but you just gotta watch. In other words, if you get a water, you can flow or crash. But anyways, if you drop shit, remember take out the trash. But anyways, if you drop shit, remember take out the trash. Throw away your garbage, nigga. In other words, if your bitch bad, I might flip a chooser. In other words, nigga stake me, I'm serving barbecue loser. In other words, nigga don't be hating, that's your funeral. In other words, bitch, I'm really goated. Bitches big bogey, bitches Mr. Let me show you something, I'm a diamond trophy. Bitch, I been knew I was him, that's why I'm never going. I know my ops bound to crash, so I just keep flowing. I'm everywhere like air and get water on the biggest ocean. It's bogey, bitch, big bogey, spell it with an E or 3. I'm mankind on a few levels up like I'm Mick Foley. And check it out, I'm still an environmentalist. Scientific, with eco color digits, I cook math pops. Blue and green figures wiggle faster, so who have emotion, nigga? Bitches bogey. Bitches bogey. In other words, it's big bogey. In other words, I'm the biggest ocean. Bitch, I'm Danny Motion. In other words, I'm shitting on rap like food poison. Fuck, I gotta buy more Febreze. I broke another toilet, nigga.
I wasn't done rapping, nigga, you know. Shit, I be having a lot to say. You know, nigga can't even. I like that.